Hey, Rambo. I haven't seen you in ages. All right. As you were.
Evening, everybody. We've got Glenn Maxwell at the top table. Who'd like to go first? Anybody? Thanks, Bharat. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Shall I?
You can go ahead, Daniel.
Just a question on the changes that Australia made. I just wondered, was there a fitness issue around Mitchell Starc, or was that just a tactical decision?
I have absolutely no idea. Wrong person to ask. I only found out this just before the game. So.
Other than that, were you targeting just a win today, or was there an eye on the net run rate and how big Australia needed to go ahead of tomorrow?
Yeah, we were certainly targeting a bigger win. But yeah, I think conditions played a pretty big part in that. I think obviously batting in the day at Adelaide's a lot different to batting at night. It sort of got a bit dewy, skidded on really nicely throughout the rest of the night, and it was pretty difficult, I suppose. And I thought we started off really well, and then just lost probably one or two too many wickets through the middle, and then probably just affected our back end a little bit. But they still bowled pretty well. Their last 4 overs, they executed really well to their fields, and yeah, so I thought they bowled beautifully.
Glenn, was it just a weird game to play in? Like, in the sense, you had to win, you had to keep the net run rate in mind. Like, when you were just batting out there, how much of that was playing on your mind while you were going about it?
I think when I was batting, I was just trying to be as positive as possible. I was looking for boundary options, but in the same position, because I was batting at 6, there wasn't as much behind me to sort of go hell for leather and try and strike at 250 consistently. And as I said, the conditions weren't 100% favourable for the batting at the start of the day, and it was a little bit slow. There was a little bit of inconsistent bounce, and so yeah, you still had to sort of. It was really weird trying to sort of safe slog or safe power hit, and they're still allowed to execute. It's not like we were playing against a bowling machine. We were playing against an attack that's is a highly skilled attack, and they've shown that in previous outings as well.
And just like when you knew that you had to keep them under 107, what were those discussions like? Were you just focused on somehow getting those 10 wickets? Or again, a very strange scenario to be in.
Oh, we didn't really talk about it. I think we just tried to sort of stick to our game plan as much as we possibly could, and we thought if we bowled well enough and created chances by building pressure, bowling well, good balls, hopefully our experience prevails. Hopefully our skill execution can be good enough. But probably after that first or second over, it didn't really move too much. It skidded on nicely, and they played some serious shots as well. As I said, opposition's allowed to have a say in what you do, and they certainly did that. They came out with great intent, put us on the back foot, and then we were able to really respond, which sometimes throughout the tournament we probably haven't responded as well, but I thought we did really well to sort of hold them back again and keep fighting hard. And yeah, we're proud of the effort we put in, especially, like, I suppose, as I said, the difference in conditions from first innings to second innings was as big as I've seen for a while.
Glenn, it's not over yet, but fate's kind of out of your own hands now, depending on what happens tomorrow. I only lost one game in this tournament. How do you look back at it? Is it a series of frustrations, or how do you sum it up? I mean, it just doesn't feel like you've put the complete game together in any of the matches. How do you assess it all so far?
You're right. We probably haven't put the complete game together, and there was a couple of games last year during the World Cup where we probably did. I think Bangladesh, West Indies, and Sri Lanka, we played the complete game. Almost back to back. They were clinical performances. We did the game quickly, and we were pretty sharp in all areas of the game. And we've probably missed a few opportunities so far this year. I feel like batters have got starts, haven't gone big. I don't think we've got any batters in the top 5 or 6 or 10 run scorers. We haven't probably got the high wicket takers either. It feels like we've sort of just been chipping away. Bits and pieces here and there, and but yeah, I think for us probably the frustration would have been nice to play that game against England and sort of hopefully showcase where we think we are as a team. And I suppose if you lose that, you can sort of wear it that you've missed out on finals. But to have a sellout at the MCG, that would have been pretty amazing to be a part of, and two teams at the peak of their powers would have been an awesome viewing, but also would have been good for both teams to sort of show where they're at. And if you win that, you put yourself in good stead going forward. But you can't dwell on that. But yeah, we've just probably missed a few opportunities. But starting the first game of the tournament not that well probably hurt us as well. It goes probably without saying.
Yeah, I was just going to follow up, Glenn, about that New Zealand game. I mean, you've played a lot of T20 cricket. You know, a lot of games can be close like they were tonight, but that one obviously was, you know, it felt like it was decided very quickly. Did you reflect at all on, I suppose, the little period of time before the start of that game? Like, you know, it sort of felt a little bit like, you know, like an AFL grand final where it's, you know, over after the first quarter, that kind of thing?
No, not really. I think we were so excited to get the tournament underway. There'd been probably the longest lead-in that we'd ever had. I think we have 15 games in all sorts of places in some pretty average conditions, all over the place. And once that 15th game was finished against India at the Gabba, the feeling around the group was almost a sigh of relief, and like now we can start. We've sort of got through all the pain, and now we can actually start our tournament. And we were excited. We were fresh. We were pumped up. We were ready to go. And they just had a player that was better on the day. And as I said, that can happen. And the opposition has a say in things, and pretty much everything we did, they counteracted in those first 4 overs, and that can be all it takes in a T20 game. We saw Stoinis do it against Sri Lanka, took the game away in 3 overs, and there's not much you can do as an opposition when someone goes off like that.
And just, I suppose, the contrast between having a winning campaign in the UAE and playing at home, and now in that situation where you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously, it would be, or it would have been a highlight for a lot of you guys to go all the way at this tournament. Will that feel disappointing in 24 hours' time if you're not going further?
Oh, you'll certainly be disappointed, but as I said, we've missed opportunities. We probably haven't nailed quite enough moments. We haven't played the perfect game, as I said before, and but yeah, I think that's probably just the disappointment. We haven't been able to sort of show how we feel like we're playing as a group, and so tonight was a good opportunity to have that perfect game, and maybe we should have sent Finchy out for the toss instead of Wadey, but who knows what would have happened. But that's as simple as it can get. It's just we've just probably missed the big moments probably too many times, and missed a few opportunities during games.
It's one of those interesting things where even Australian fans seem to also be cheering for Rashid Khan. Just as someone who's no slouch in the finishing department, were you nervous when he started teeing off and playing that kind of innings to take it really close?
No, I had faith in the guys getting it done. It's just you want it to sort of be done without any sort of doubt, and when it gets down to 11 off 2 balls, you're thinking you can get a nick for 4 and then crunch the last ball, and we've got to go into overtime and super overs, and so I still felt like Storm was going to get the job done, but yeah, probably got a bit closer than we thought we would at the back end there.
And just Aaron Finch there, he was prowling the boundary a little bit there, running drinks on and off. Was that difficult for him, being off the ground in that kind of situation?
Oh, I can't speak for Aaron, but he was brilliant around the group all day today. I know he would have loved to have been out there with us, and but yeah, unfortunately, I mean, he was awesome around the group. That's all I can sort of say. He was brilliant. He was encouraging. He was at all the drinks breaks, and yeah, supported us as hard as he could.
Just probably on the same theme about Finchy. I mean, what's it say about him that he didn't want to put himself before the team? And I guess, can you quantify what was missing from without having his leadership out there? Or
what was the start of the question? Sorry.
just about how he was open yesterday, and he said he wasn't going to put himself before the team, and that's it.
Yeah, that's typical Aaron. He'll never put his personal interests in front of everyone else's. He'll never look for the limelight of like this show's about me or anything like that. And like for him to sort of say that he was still feeling a little bit must have been a big decision for him, especially in a must-win game when where he's coming off a bit of form. He's hitting the ball really well, and that must have been a really hard decision for him. But credit to him, he didn't want us hindered in the field in any way. And yeah, I thought Wadey did a good job tonight. It's not easy when you've got so many permutations floating all over the place, and you're against a team that can literally do anything. They can shock you. They can play some of the most amazing shots, and then they'll hit one straight up in the air, and don't know where it came from. But yeah, thought he did a good job. He managed the balls really well, and but yeah, would have been nice to have Fitchy at the top of the order, and especially after getting 60 last game. I think that would have been quite nice.
Glenn, more than even the 50 over World Cup, T20, the way T20 World Cups are structured, it takes maybe one bad day for a team to get knocked out, which doesn't make the team a bad team. And it can be argued your squad was better than the last year round. How do you, if you do not make it, how do you reconcile with that, despite being such a good squad, not progressing?
You can't dwell on it. I think you move on pretty quickly. I think we've got a one-day series against England probably 24 hours later, and then we got the Big Bash, then we got 4-day cricket. Cricket never stops, so you don't get time to dwell. Maybe when you retire, you think back to it, and would have been nice to have won that, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. There's no point in dwelling about it. It's like, oh well, wish we had a won. We didn't.
We'll move on to Zoom, starting with Umesh.
Glenn, am I audible?
Please go
Am I
ahead.
audible? Glenn, my question is that what went wrong with the death overs with the team? Because you were defending a good till the death overs arrived. So what went wrong with the death, and how are you looking at your chances to the semis ahead?
Sorry, we couldn't make that out.
Something about making something at the death. Making something at the semi.
Actually, I can repeat if I'm audible. If I'm audible, I can repeat.
Slow down.
So, Umesh, yeah, please slow down.
Okay.
And we're running out of time, so please can you make your question short?
Glenn, please. My question is that what went wrong in the death overs, and now how are you looking at your chances to the semis?
Sorry,
batting or bowling?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. We're going to move on to the next one. Sorry. We're going to move on to Amitava.
Hi, Glenn. This is Amitava from Preview, India. Basically, home advantage is, as host, Australia has had a home advantage this time. Last year, they won the World Cup, T20 World Cup. Is home advantage a disadvantage for the hosts? What do you think?
No.
No?
Okay. Lachlan?
Hi, Glenn. With Finchy and Tim David out today, how much discussion was there around the batting order and I guess moving you down to number 6? And was there any chance of you going up the order?
That's a really good question. I actually came out. We lost the first wicket. I came out thinking I was at 5. And Diva gave me the tap on the shoulder. He goes, "Oh, I think you're at 6." And I was like, "Okay, no worries." So I left my gear there and went back inside. So there wasn't a whole lot of conversation about it. I knew it was going to be a fluid batting order. We were going to put people out for the best time of the game. And unfortunately for us, we just probably were, at every stage, we were probably just one wicket too many down to go as hard as we would have liked. But in saying that, we still had complete and utter faith with our batting line to get that job done.
Last question, Prajakta.
Hi, Glenn. How difficult was this World Cup for you, considering not scoring the runs before and playing a very important knock today? How would you rate your group stage performance?
It wasn't too bad. I think I was reasonably consistent throughout the tournament. I think one of the things we judge our middle order on is our impact of the game when we enter the game until we get out, and making sure that we're trying to leave the game state in a better position. And felt like I did that really consistently. I was able to strike the ball pretty cleanly. Would have been nice to make a few more at different stages, but when you're playing a high risk and trying to get the run rate going, you're going to make mistakes. It's not going to be flawless, and felt like I was in pretty good nick the whole way through.
We'll close on that note. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time, and thank you, Glenn.
Cheers.
Come on.